Welcome back everybody to Forza Motorsport, and today we're taking a look at the 2023 Chevrolet Corvette Z06. Now this was unveiled in 2021 and it entered production in 2023, and as you can see by the look of the car, it's a lot more of a track orientated version of the Corvette, with a big front splitter, giant rear wing. It's got carbon fibre wheels, tyres that have been made for this car, and plenty of extra downforce. It's also got an electronic limited slip differential, and yeah, the engine itself shares parts with the Corvette C8R racing car to make this even more of a track orientated vehicle. But despite that kind of focus on the track, it's still a reasonably practical car. As you see, it's got a frunk on the go, and inside you've got no silly doors or anything like that, but you've also got plenty of equipment and creature comfort, so there's really nothing in here that you wouldn't probably see in the standard car, but chiefly among which there's probably little in there that is in the standard Corvette that isn't there. You've also got a decent sized boot, and what you're looking at here is the most powerful naturally aspirated engine for a V8 ever. It's a 5.5 litre V8 engine producing 670 horsepower and 460 pounds-feet of torque. Now granted, that is a lot less torque than we've had in some Corvettes, and that's because it's got a double overhead camshaft and a flat plane crank to go along with it, so it's a lot higher revving than any other Corvette we've had before. In fact, this will rev well over 8,000 RPM, which certainly gives it a far more different kind of sound, and does play into the whole fact that it's now, this is the C8 version, so it's a mid-engine rear-wheel drive, so it's coming across as a lot more European with this engine, outside of the drivetrain layout, which other Corvettes in this generation share the same drivetrain layout with. But yeah, feels even more European as a result of the engine and the way it sounds and the way it delivers its power. It's got shorter final ratios on this as well, so top speed isn't quite as good as, say, the E-Ray, which has less power than this but more torque due to its hybrid drivetrain, which is also despite the fact that it's got a larger engine, as that has a 6.2 litre V8 engine, but that's a lot less of a sophisticated engine, and nowhere near revs as high as this. So but nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. And by the open road, I mean the track, obviously. Right, so here we are at Road America for the full circuit. So as per usual, we'll see what the car sounds like, as that is a big difference over the previous versions of this car, and then we'll talk about it some more. So let's see what it sounds like. So yeah, this car sounds a lot more like, say, a V8 Ferrari more than anything else now. Certainly sounds more like that than any previous Corvette, and as you can see, it's really high revving. It's got a really responsive engine. It doesn't feel like a big lazy V8 anymore. It feels like a high performance engine, which is obviously emphasised by the fact that it doesn't have all that much in the way of torque. The E-Ray has more torque than this, although granted that has the hybrid electric power as well, which does obviously have a fair bit of torque with it. But yeah, I imagine that 6.2 litre V8 is still torqueier than this even without that hybrid element. And I'm sure this engine noise is going to put off some people, definitely some of the die-hard Corvette fans out there, but you know, it's to be expected from Corvette with the way that they've been going with this, or Chevrolet even, with the way that they've been going with this Corvette. They've definitely been making it more of a European kind of car, so naturally they're going to go for a more European sounding engine as well, to go with, you know, European layout and the general European looks, because yeah, this does look like, you know, a supercar from Europe. And yeah, but that's no real bad thing when it's working as well as it is. I can't say I'm a massive fan of it. I do prefer the likes of the C7. I did really like that generation of the Corvette, especially the Z06 version, and yeah, the ZR1 version as well. So yeah, but still, it's a more than capable car, and as you can see, it's plenty capable in terms of straight line speed, but also in terms of handling as well. And yeah, it will do 0 to 60 in 2.634 seconds. It will do 0 to 105.917 seconds, and it will go to a top speed of 189 miles an hour. So yeah, the top speed isn't quite as good as other Corvettes that we've seen, and that's for two reasons. One, it doesn't have all that much in the way of torque. Secondly, because of the final drive ratio has been shortened to increase, make the acceleration better, and obviously you have way more in the way of downforce due to that massive rear wing and the front splitter at the front. So yeah, and on the whole that has made a difference in terms of handling. I wouldn't say it's perfect. There are definitely European equivalents that would probably out-handle this even with all of these changes that it's had. Including, you know, carbon fibre wheels that reduce the weight by some 42 pounds or thereabouts. So yeah, it does have some understeer, which really does knock your confidence somewhat, and on occasion it does feel like it wants to snap oversteer, and I get the feeling that it's doing that because it's more reliant on downforce rather than just pure handling for its, you know, cornering abilities, which is obviously fine for certain tracks and day-to-day basis, because you're not really going to be pushing the car that much. But yeah, it doesn't work on every kind of track, and as you can see, it is somewhat struggling to get it around some corners. It is a bit of a hairy car, no doubt about that, but then again, it is the most powerful naturally aspirated engine going, so you know, it's going to be a little bit on the hairy side as a result of that. So yeah, not the most powerful Corvette though, obviously, because we've had supercharged Corvettes before. I'm pretty sure the ZR1 Corvette had, from the previous generation at least, had well in excess of 700 horsepower, so yeah, they're certainly not pushing this car's chassis and the like to its limits, I imagine. If there is a ZR1 version that is going to come and it is supercharged and whatnot, then yeah, I expect this to have, you know, at least about 750, maybe close to 800 horsepower. But as it stands, yeah, this is a pretty good car, and for Chevrolet's, you know, first track performance version of this generation of the Corvette, they've done a stand-up job. But I do imagine there is more to get out of this car in terms of its handling and in terms of the power it can deal with at the same time. So yeah, but get out there and try this car out if you haven't already. I certainly prefer it to the E-Ray, which for my money is far too heavy and far too lumpant through the corners, whereas this, weighing only 3,557 pounds, is a lot lighter. Not having the all-wheel drive system means that it's got better turning, and yeah, that engine is just sublime. So yeah, well worth trying out if you haven't already. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.